Hey, welcome back to PR Playback. This is our weekly segment where we respond to questions you ask us through our website about difficult PR challenges you might be facing. This question is actually asked from Ethan in Tulsa, and Ethan was asking, what types of reporter questions might I expect in an aggressive type interview? So Ethan, today we're going to cover off the second of the 5 types of reporter questions, the representative. I'm going to ask Russ Rhea to join us. He is our Vice President of Media Services. Russ does media training all across the country with many of our clients. You've heard reporters ask this type of question a number of times. Almost in every interview I hear, especially on the radio, they use the representative.
Yeah, I used to use this a lot. In fact, I think in every interview that I did when I was a television reporter, I had some sort of representative question because it kind of got me out of sounding like I was the one asking this bad question. I would say something like, you know, a lot of people say that this is blackmail or deceiving. And you immediately turn it into a negative question and don't have to come off like sounding like you're asking the bad question.
So you're using kind of this notion that you've talked to many people and they're the ones who are posing the question to you.
Right.
So that's what it sounds like. In fact, take a look at a couple of these clips to see how reporters use this particular trick.
And no doubt you will be welcomed by our political leaders. Unfortunately, the majority of our public do not welcome your visit because they're angry over Iraq, they're angry over Abu Ghraib. Are you bothered by what Irish people think?
Listen, I hope the Irish people understand the great values of our country.
There are critics, though, who will say, you know what, they're just here for the folks at Wayne State who go back and forth to the suburbs, or the medical center who go back and forth to the suburbs. And really the folks who live across the street in the projects aren't necessarily the ones you guys want to serve.
The fact is that we've made a real effort to build a connection with all of the community here.
Russ, those are good examples of a reporter using the representative. How do you think that a person can best respond to those or come out of those with an easy way to maneuver?
Yeah, again, it would immediately, the natural tendency maybe in everyday conversation would immediately begin to defend yourself in addressing the negative things within that question. However, that's a negative quote or soundbite that they can pull and use. So I would lead with the positive. You don't have to respond directly or provide a literal answer. Respond with information about the topic of the question, but be the positive, proactive message that you want the audience to hear without having to get into the negatives.
Okay, so in the response, you first acknowledge and then get to your positive idea. It could sound something like, I can understand why people might feel that way, but here's the truth. Something like that.
Yeah, a very quick transitional phrase that we call bridges, like something along the lines of what you said. There's the truth is, the fact is, what's important here is, and immediately get into the positive message that you want to get across in the story.
Right, and I think, Ethan, for you, the point that we really want to emphasize is these are approaches that reporters take. You do have to be ready for them. You never know quite what sequence they will be in. Russ, thanks very much for that. And Ethan, I hope that helps with your question. We're going to continue to talk about types of reporter questions. In fact, we're going to cover pushpins, hypotheticals, and offers in some future segments. Thanks for joining us for this episode of PR Playback.